Good afternoon, I'm Gordon Burns. Welcome to North West Today. The headlines this Wednesday lunchtime. Rail services are disrupted as train drivers stage the first of 2 one-day strikes. Crisis time for the cocklers. They demand a new fishing bed to protect their livelihood. And going back to his roots, singer Russell Watson revisits the working men's clubs where he learned his trade.
This was my, I suppose, what you could describe as a bijou dressing room.
Railway services across the region are being disrupted today as train drivers at First TransPennine Express stage a one-day strike over pay. Passengers have found some of their trains cancelled and others delayed. The rail company says it's brought in managers and extra carriages. Abby Jones reports.
Barrow Station was unusually quiet this morning. Some services were cancelled. At Manchester Piccadilly, some found their travel plans in disarray.
Not happy. It's the first time I've travelled by train for about 2 years. And I was quite looking forward to the journey.
There was about 3 trains within the hour, but now we've just got to wait for one. And there's all these people waiting as well, so they'll be on it as well. We've got loads of stuff.
This family back from Florida found themselves stranded at Manchester Airport.
We're absolutely shattered. None of us had any sleep all night, and they're just not helping at all.
After we interviewed them, First TransPennine Express agreed to pay for a hire car to get them home. Trains to Liverpool, Leeds, York, South Yorkshire and the Lake District from Manchester and out again are affected.
It is a last resort. Our drivers have chosen to go on strike and lose hundreds of pounds, and they don't want to do that. We say to the company, we're willing to discuss again and let's try and resolve this dispute.
But many passengers encountered little disruption this morning. Managers have been drafted in and extra carriages added.
Seats are being provided at a less frequent rate, and we are doing everything we can to get customers where they need to go. It is a very, very busy week. This dispute, which is over pay, needs to be resolved through dialogue, not disrupting trains.
If a deal isn't thrashed out, another strike is set for Friday, hitting the start of the bank holiday weekend, Manchester Pride and the Leeds Festival. Abby Jones, BBC North West Today.
Cockle fishermen in Lancashire say they are dismayed at the fishing authority's decision not to open a cockle bed in the Ribble estuary. They claim 2 other beds will open in September, but say a third is needed to protect their livelihood. But it's believed the third is in a potentially dangerous position. Peter Marshall spoke with the fishermen earlier.
Well, you can see by the sheer number of people that have turned out here that there's great concern about what will happen to this cockle bed in the middle of the Ribble estuary. Let's talk to Paul Sumner, a full-time fisherman. Paul, just how significant in terms of a living could this bed be for you?
It's vital. There's enough work on that bed to keep us going till April. We're very concerned about the 30-day closure that they're proposing, because that will encourage people to go on at night, and that will be very dangerous.
Just explain to me what would happen then. If the fisheries don't open the bed, what do you fear will happen?
My biggest fear is people will see the bed from either side on the beds that they are opening. It'll be like a carrot in front of the nose. They will be tempted to go on in the dark and get cut off by the tide, and there could be fatalities on there if it's not opened.
The authorities say that they won't open it for safety reasons. It's got channels either side of it. That could be dangerous. Surely it makes common sense not to open it.
No, it makes common sense to open it when they've got experienced men on there in the daylight, rather than having poachers going on at night in the dark. They are making it more dangerous by keeping it closed.
So finally, what are you asking the authorities to do? What's your advice to them? What are you saying?
Open it. I'm an experienced man. I've fished the Ribble 30 years. I've got 20 years experience in the lifeboat. There's David Morrison, 17, Russell, 17 years. We've over 50 years experience behind us. If we stick together as a group, the bed can be fished safely.
thanks very much indeed for joining us. And so far there's been no response from the fisheries authorities.
Peter Marshall there. Now, a man has died after apparently stabbing himself and then being tasered by police. It happened at a house in Overhulton near Bolton last night. Police say there were reports the man had barricaded himself inside and was armed with a knife. A man in Liverpool has had his nose, ears and lip bitten off in an attack outside a city nightclub. The club was today closed by police using emergency powers. One officer said the Funky Box nightclub had a phenomenal history of violence. Jane Barrett is in our Liverpool studio now. And first of all, Jane, tell us exactly what happened.
Well, the club we're talking about is just around the corner from where we are at Radio Merseyside on Fleet Street, and outside that you'll see posters advertising the fact that it is open all night, every night. You can drink there until 5 a.m. You can stay in there until perhaps 6, 7 o'clock in the morning, every night of the week. This incident happened at 6:20 a.m. on Saturday morning. Now, the police have described the CCTV footage showing two men involved in a fight outside of the club. They both fall to the floor before one man, and these are the words of the police officer who was addressing a licensing committee with Liverpool City Council. He describes the footage as showing one man starting to eat away at the other man's face. He said this was the worst incident he has seen in his 27-year history with the force. As I say, the licensing committee heard about this and they've immediately suspended the club's licence. It's been closed. A full review will take place on September the 19th. You might wonder why that's happened if the attack was outside, and it's because, as you've already said, the police officer described this place as having a phenomenal history of violence. A 28-year-old man has been arrested and charged with wounding.
And it's not just the club that has the history of violence. That area is well known for its trouble, isn't it?
Well, not surprisingly, because there's a big concentration of clubs and pubs in this area. But if you have a look at the crime statistic map that Merseyside Police has on its website, you can type in a postcode and see any crime hotspots. The city centre is relatively safe, apart from a cluster in this Wood Street, Fleet Street area. Lots of crime reported there, more than everywhere else in the city centre. There are lots of drinks promotions in this area, like 50p for a shot, as they had at this club, and there are questions being asked about how appropriate that is in the light of all of this violence. More on this tonight.
Jane, thanks very much. A woman whose legs wouldn't stop growing will feature in a TV documentary tonight. Mandy Sellers from Accrington suffers from a rare medical condition and has had one of her legs amputated to save her life. She's been speaking to us about the programme and how she has been coping. Eleanor Moritz reports.
Mandy Sellers is an extraordinary person with an extraordinary condition. She was born with a rare syndrome, even now undiagnosed, which meant her legs wouldn't stop growing.
I do understand why people look, because it is so unusual and you're not kind of bump into someone like me on the street every day.
We last met Mandy on North West Tonight 4 years ago. Since then she's had a series of potentially fatal infections in one of her legs and has had it amputated, in itself extremely risky surgery.
The positive side is the fact that I don't have any infections at all now, where before it was just constant towards the end. So in myself I feel really, really healthy. I haven't felt this good in like 20 years. The flip side of the coin is the fact that now I'm not as independent as I was. Oh, I can't, sorry, I can't see it. I'm worried about missing it.
Her operation at a hospital in Liverpool and subsequent recovery features in tonight's documentary. It follows her through rehab and her efforts to walk again.
You're doing amazing.
Doing this latest documentary, I've really enjoyed doing it. I've enjoyed working with the people that I have done and the people that I've met along the way. Maybe by the time I look back on it in years to come, I will be walking with a false leg and I'll look back and think, wow, did it look really hard work back then to do that?
Eleanor Moritz, BBC North West Today.
And you can see Mandy's story in the documentary Extraordinary People on Channel 5 tonight at 9 o'clock. Now, Salford-born singer Russell Watson started his career in the working men's clubs of Blackpool. The tenor has gone on to sell thousands of records worldwide. And tonight on The One Show, he goes back to his roots, but he has got some concerns about the future of the working men's clubs.
Wow. The Blackpool Philharmonic Club. It's been 15 years since I performed here. And what immediately strikes me is it hasn't changed a bit.
The Working Men's Clubs and Institutes Union was formed in 1862 by Teetotal Reverend Henry Solly. The clubs were set up as an alternative to pubs, focusing on more wholesome sports and games. But within a decade, drinking joined these activities and the mould was cast for clubs for the next 150 years.
Follow me. This was my, I suppose what you could describe as a bijou dressing room.
Since their heyday, the number of clubs has nosedived to just over 2,000 and attendance is dwindling.
2 clubs in Blackpool, there are now down 15, which is, to me, it's a disaster really. It's not just Blackpool, it's everywhere in the country.
With so many clubs struggling, they've certainly got their work cut out to ensure the tradition of the working men's clubs continues. To survive, they're going to have to move with the times.
And there is more on that story in The One Show at 7 o'clock tonight, BBC One. OK, it's time for the weather, and we join Hop-Along Heather, which I shouldn't really laugh because she's on one leg and in some pain, a real trooper.
Thank you very much, Gordon. Hello there. Well, over the next few days, we're going to see some unsettled weather thanks to that area of low pressure. But look at this area of high pressure. That's going to build as we head through the bank holiday weekend. So the weather is going to get progressively better as we head through next weekend. So today, well, we've got some showers. Some of them are going to be heavy and thundery as we head through the afternoon. We could see 1 or 2 real heavy downpours every now and again. But you can see they're interspersed with some drier, brighter weather. We'll certainly see the sunshine as well. And that's going to help temperatures. They'll get to around about 18 Celsius. Now, as we head through this evening, those showers will gradually disappear to leave us with some sunshine to end the day. And then for many of us, it's going to be a dry night, maybe an occasional shower here or there across the Pennines, but temperatures getting no lower than around about 8 Celsius. So tomorrow, now, if you're up early, it's another dry, bright start to the day. Plenty of sunshine around to start with, but then again, we're into this scenario of sunshine and showers. And again, the showers tomorrow could turn out to be heavy and thundery when they do turn up, but some really good spells of sunshine in between times. Top temperatures getting to around about 19 Celsius. And as I mentioned, as we head towards the end of the week and through the bank holiday weekend, things will improve, Gordon.
Good. How long are you going to have the plaster cast on?
How long is a piece of string? I don't know just yet. I hope to get more confirmation on Thursday.
Well, we keep our fingers crossed.
Thank you.
The crutches are just out of sight, actually, there. Just to hobble in and hobble out. It's a sad sight. I'm back with Kate later. Bye-bye.
Is love enough? Cherry has to decide in Doctors next on BBC One.